goes 56 games.
Right. Here we go.
All right. We are on.
All right. Well, good evening to all our ballpark buddies out there, and welcome to another episode of the Baseball Bums. I am Benny Scala, a.k.a. The Playa. Now, you may know me from my latest smash adult film. She calls me Window because I'm double hung. And if we're...
Jesus Christ.
You know I just did that for you, Jimmy, right?
Are you sure?
And if we are bums,
I think you do it for you, too.
If we are bums, well, then I am joined by the former lead singer of Derelict and the Dominoes, the one and only Jimmy Farrow. Jimmy,
Derelict.
how are you this fine Sunday evening?
Derelict. Well, if the shoe fits, wear it. Apparently, I wear that one pretty well. There you go. Very nice.
I don't know how I came up with that. That just,
I like that. That's good. Yeah, that works.
So, Jimmy, tonight we may or may not conclude our four-part debate on who should and should be not be in the Hall of Fame. So far, we've covered pitchers, catchers, infielders. Last week, outfielders, although we have come in our discussions to realize that there's quite a few people that we did not include in the discussion.
There's more.
So there might be a part 5, very well may be. But now, so far for tonight, we're going to cover the guys who fill out the lineup cards and get ejected from games, the managers. Now, they actually do a lot more than that, but just like the position players, there's plenty of controversy here. Are you ready, my friend?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. Let's do the modern guys.
Okay.
Some of these are easy. First guy, Bruce Bochy, 4 World Series, 5 pennants, manager of the year, 606 postseason winning percentage, 27 seasons.
Oh, he's in.
You know what's really funny though, Jimmy?
He's got to be in. Yeah.
Regular season winning percentage under 500. Does that matter?
No, not really. I mean, you're not a manager for 27 years by accident. What was that? 5 World Series? How many championships?
5 pennants, 4 series. Only 1 manager of the year, which is kind of odd.
Okay. All right.
I mean, no brainer, right?
I think he's a no-brainer. He did more than enough.
Well, there's another great manager who won 9 pennants in 5 World Series.
Yeah.
And did not have a career 500 winning percentage.
Really?
The great Cornelius McGillicuddy.
Cornelius McGillicuddy?
Connie Mack.
Oh, Connie Mack. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just like, I didn't even realize that's his Cornelius McGillicuddy.
Cornelius McGillicuddy. Yeah,
Lucille Ball know about him?
Maybe a long lost relative, but yeah. I mean, I think he's like 493.
Right.
So they had, towards the end of his, keep in mind, he managed, I think, until he was, like 86?
Right.
He managed for 50 years.
Right.
And there was some bad teams towards the end, but, in the beginning, they were a powerhouse.
Right. Well, you know what, though? Just to make it simple, Bochy is to the Giants what Torrey was to the Yankees. There's one less championship, but, wasn't that 3 and 5 seasons?
Well, he won the one in Texas, though. That's amazing.
Right. Was he also the manager of the Padres back in 98?
Yes.
Come on. How many times do you want him to get to the dance?
That's what I'm saying. This is like probably, my opinion, the best manager in baseball today. Although the next guy, he's got a good start. Dave Roberts, 1 World Series, 3 pennants, manager of the year. He's got 5 seasons of 100-plus wins. Now he's got a 626 regular season winning percentage, which is, of any managers who have managed over 1,000 games, highest all time. Over Joe McCarthy, even. And let's see, 536 postseason. So I think, definitely on the right track, managing the right teams, got Ohtani for the next 10 seasons.
Right.
I think he's going to be a shoo-in.
Yeah. I won't say he's there yet, but he's definitely on his way. By the way, he is no Joe McCarthy. I don't care what his.
Oh God,
I don't care what his. I mean, it's impressive that he has such a great winning percentage during the regular season, but he's not Joe McCarthy. Oddly enough, Joe McCarthy won't be on this list tonight, but I just recently read a ranking of the greatest managers in the history of this game. I guess to get a little bit of a preparation for the show, and to my surprise, number 1, Joe McCarthy. Now, my father always said he was number 1. My father preferred him over Stengel, so I found that pretty fascinating.
I think McCarthy was a far better manager than Stengel.
Yeah, Joe McCarthy, number 1.
Very interesting. No, that does not. I'm actually happy to hear that.
I was surprised. I
Yeah.
figured it would be Casey. Casey is the fashionable pick, if you know what I'm saying. I figured
Casey was a lot smarter than anybody gave him credit for, I think.
Oh, Casey was brilliant, and he
Casey
worked
was
everybody.
A genius. Yeah.
Casey worked everybody. Casey was a little bit of pro wrestling in baseball, if you really think about it.
A lot of swerves.
Yeah, he was a manager. He was a manager, like the way managers were in wrestling. I mean, he really was. He was a headline waiting to happen, and he enjoyed all the spotlight. He ate it up, you know. Great personality. So
Jimmy,
I was surprised to not see him number one. Yeah.
You get named the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers tomorrow, right?
Oh, okay. Cool.
All right, let me see. I got Mookie Betts. I got Shohei Ohtani. I got Freddie Freeman. I got Will Smith as the catcher. I mean, don't you win 100 games?
I would say yes, I do. But I would also probably, the first thing I would want to do is just look at the rest of the roster. Because it's great to have superstars, but I want to know who the rest of the guys are. I would probably be very overbearing to the front office. I would not do it by analytics. I would be very much a pain in the ass because I would want to do everything by my gut, which I trust implicitly. So I probably wouldn't last as Dodgers manager because I would wind up flipping a table over in the front office.
Definitely not a panderer. You know, I got to say though, I think the Dodgers are significantly underachieving this year. They're not even on track to. I mean, they were saying after they signed Ohtani, they were going to win 120 games.
I agree.
They're not going to win 100.
I agree. I mean, they are definitely underperforming.
Right.
I don't know what that means about his role in the clubhouse as a leader. I know that I would be flipping out, absolutely flipping out. There was not a single pitch or a single game or a single inning that should be wasted. I want everybody 1,000% all the time. You know, I mean, it's a much lesser example, but I was like that as a teammate and then as a captain. You cannot jake it on my watch. I will not have it, you know, of any kind. You know, and I will show you up. I'll show you up in front of the whole fucking team if I think that you're fucking, you know, jerking off.
See Billy Martin. I mean, he wasn't afraid to do that.
Yeah, I would go by my gut, you know. I mean, over especially the last 10 years or so, going back to maybe 2015 and stuff before the young Yankees came up in 2017, there have been guys that I have wanted, and I know that we can afford them as Yankee fans. I know that they can afford them, and I'm watching this idiot who once upon a time could get nothing wrong, has gotten nothing but everything wrong for years now. I mean, when Verlander wasn't even on the Astros yet, I'm like, God damn it, go get him. He is clearly the best of his generation. Go get him the way you got Roger all those years ago.
Yeah.
I remember to a much lesser extent, but David Price, who had once upon a time during a 5 to 7 year period was the best big lefty in baseball. He was fantastic.
Phenomenal.
And I wanted him. I'm like, go get Verlander and Price. I was like, everything else will take care of itself. Just build a baseball team around those two guys.
Right.
And they didn't. They didn't. And oddly enough, Verlander went on to win championships and
he won another Cy after that.
And then Price goes to the Red Sox, and he's not even fully David Price and clinches the game-winning World Series championship. I'm like, what are you doing? You know,
David
Bryce Harper,
very underrated pitcher.
You know, looking at Bryce Harper over there, you couldn't tell early on he was go get him. He's a left-hander who gives a shit. He hits for power. Look at the porch. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Let me tell you, he would have been such a hero here in New York, the way he plays. They love him in Philly. Are we really that different from Philadelphia as far as our blue-collar grime and demanding for hustle?
We love our baseball, and we want ball players.
Right. I mean, I just watched it so much over the years. So to answer your question, I would be an excellent baseball manager. You could put me in there right now. I would know damn well how to lead guys to win. But I would probably be in a fight with the front office constantly. Yeah. Constantly. Now, the difference between me and Billy Martin is I would be screaming to have Reggie Jackson, not Joe Rudy. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that's Price with the Red Sox.
Yeah, there he is. There.
Wherever Price went, I think at the end, didn't he go to the Dodgers at the very end? And I think by then his arm was shot. But you know, Braves great, Blue Jays great, Red Sox great.
Really good pitcher, man.
Upper echelon pitcher,
there was a time to get him, and it was like 8 or 9 years ago. I'm like, go get him.
Yeah.
You know,
and he wouldn't have been like, I mean, he wouldn't have wanted Ohtani money or even Garrett Cole money.
Benny, I don't even want to hear about money when it comes to the Yankees with the prices they charge do you realize that if you wanted to see every Yankee game, do you know how many different services you have to purchase?
Right.
These guys are making money hand over fist at the fans' expense.
They're minting money.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that they get away with this shit, you know? And then half the time the lineup is good. Look, we're talking about Verlander and Price when I saw the writing on the wall a decade ago. And what if we had to sit through Sonny Gray and company?
Oh, God.
Like, quit being a smartass. Quit with your fucking analytics and just look at it with the eye test. It's obvious who the best guys are. Go get them. I don't know.
Sonny Gray the reincarnation of was it Andy Hawkins and Ed Whitson?
Oh, my God. And what about that guy Vasquez, who had a great career everywhere except when he pitched for us? It's like, don't you realize the first time around, he can't pitch here? It's like, and then Damon hits the grand slam off him. I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Gets all cutesy-wootsy. And don't forget, while Damon's hitting that grand slam, where's Roger and Andy? They're in Houston getting ready to go to the World Series the following year.
Exactly.
Brilliant. That's brilliant, Brian. You've been brilliant for decades now at this point. You know, and he can't even take credit for A-Rod because the exiled Steinbrenner, the late great Hank, brought A-Rod here.
Right.
You know, he can't even take credit for that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, so what have you done? What have you really done? Matsui got an MVP. You got rid of him. Damon was one of the biggest reasons we won that World Series. You got rid of him. Wow, how did we get off on this? Maybe we should talk about GMs that shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
Maybe that'll be next week.
The sick thing, though, Benny, the crazy thing, though, is real quick, Cashman's going to be in the Hall of Fame as a GM. You know it. One day, right?
Well, do they? I guess you could. Yeah, they have execs.
Of
in the Hall
course
of Fame,
they
right?
do. They're called builders and innovators, man.
Right,
He'll be in the building. He'll be in the building section. Good God.
Jimmy, how about AJ Hinch? World Series, 2 pennants, 522 regular season winning percentage, 11 seasons. Still too soon?
Yeah, and I don't think he's on pace for it. No, he don't rub me as.
Was he won the tainted one?
I think so.
Okay.
Or is that Cora?
No, I think it was him. I think it was Hinch.
Was it? Yeah. I blanked it. I blanked it out of my mind so much. What happened with the Astros?
Yeah, I'm going to say no to him for now. I mean, unless he, I mean, you never know. He can catch fire, win another couple of World Series. But still a relatively young guy. Dave Martinez of the Nationals, World Series pennant, good start. 706 postseason, which is great.
Wow.
Only 7 seasons in, but a 451 regular season winning percentage. That ain't going to get you in.
No, that ain't going to do it. No, he ain't making it either. Nope. They got a miracle run there on his resume. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. No, he's a no.
And last but certainly not least, Aaron Boone. 586 regular season, 452 postseason, 7 seasons in.
No fucking way. No way. No.
Is Aaron Boone, Jimmy, the Marty Schottenheimer of baseball?
Wow.
I mean, Marty was 11-5 every season, right?
That's
first round of the playoffs got blown out.
That's a good comparison, man. I actually almost got offended on reflex from Marty Schottenheimer, but when you think about it, I guess that's when
I lived in Kansas City, Marty was the coach.
Marty was a great coach too. But here's the difference, though. I can say that comfortably. Marty was a great coach. He was. He just, I don't know. It didn't happen for him in the postseason. Right. I don't think Aaron Boone's a great manager. I don't. I don't look at him and go, that's a great manager. That's a tactical, go by your gut. He just seems to be a company pansy. It just feels like it year after year after year. I mean, right now, and I've pointed this out in other shows, that the batting averages on the Yankees, if you're hitting 260, you're batting third on the team. Well, the offense sucks lately, okay?
Yeah.
It's been absolutely horrendous. And what does Boone do? When they asked him about all this struggling, what does Boone do? He gives you the answer that the front office would give you. Well, I'm sure by the end of the year we'll be in the top 5 in runs scored and this and that and that. I don't care how many fucking runs you score. I care when you score them. All right, I don't give a shit. You know, they top load the lineup. You got two great hitters, and everybody else is swinging for the seats and failing miserably. You know, it's the same old shit year after year. Where are the baseball players?
I think if they took Boone's shirt off, he's actually a robot. And, whenever he has to cut a promo, there's like a little, they put a cassette full of AI,
Right.
baseball bullshit. And then he just, he just
Right.
mouths it. I mean, I just
Right.
he's not a favorite of mine.
No, his pulse is very dim. Girardi, the reason why Girardi left is that this mindset change was happening, where they wanted more analytics. Girardi's not about that. They wanted him to be nice to people. Girardi's not about that. Girardi's about get your fucking ass out there and do it. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Girardi was could be one of the last of the old school managers because nowadays everybody's pen and pad and calculator. It doesn't work for me. But these athletes are so fucking soft. That's all they know anyway.
Jimmy, at what point did they cut this guy loose? Like, they were what, 50 and 20 or something like that? They're probably not even, they're not going to win 100 games. And I mean, they're not that far in front of the Red Sox at this point, are they? About 4 games, 4.5 games?
Yeah. It's not much. When are they going to cut him loose? They'll never cut him loose because Cashman is there and they're not going to cut him loose. Look, I've had enough of Cashman, okay? I've been watching this for years with Cashman. I'm sick and tired of it, but they don't care what the fans want. They figure they're winning 90 to 100 games every year, 95 to 100 games every year.
They're making $1 billion, right?
Yeah, and they're making $1 billion, but they're not giving us anything that I want to gravitate to. This lineup does nothing for me. This pitching staff does nothing for me. Their closer does nothing for me. I don't know what's going on over there. And this is one of the better teams, by the way, in the major leagues. Boring. Right. Very boring. Very boring by the numbers.
The problem is we grew up with the other Steinbrenner who actually gave a shit that the Yankees won.
Yep.
And he had no tolerance for them not winning.
Baseball was played differently then, too. Players played a lot more passionately than I see today.
Right.
Everything's changed.
And for a lot less money.
Right. Yep.
A lot chump change.
Compared to what's going on today, yeah. I mean, billionaires, and they suck half of them. It's a joke. It really is a joke.
I got a list of, I call it recent past. So these are guys who are no longer managing, but have managed in the past 5 seasons. First guy is Terry Francona, 2 World Series, 3 pennants, 3 managers of the year, 538 regular season winning percentage, 564 postseason, 23 seasons.
In.
No brainer.
Oh yeah.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind if he was managing us right now.
Oh hell yeah. I'd take it. Bye, Aaron.
Yeah, he's great. He's old school. It's been,
all right,
been great for a long time.
The next couple are really, to me, these are puzzlers. Dusty Baker.
Yeah.
World Series, 3 pennants, 3 managers of the year, which that surprised me. 540 regular season, 528 postseason, 26 seasons.
In. Dusty Baker's in.
I think Dusty has the most wins of any manager that is not in the Hall of Fame. Yeah,
Dusty needs to go in. Yeah. I mean, 26 years served, and he's always been a top manager. His teams are always good.
Now this is every week, Jimmy. There's one of these picks that is like my favorite because I want to hear your take on it. And this is it. Buck Showalter, 4 managers of the year, 509 regular season winning percentage, 385 postseason. I think he won only 1 postseason series in 22 years as a manager.
Not in.
Okay. So
I mean, hey, look.
That another Marty? Well, it's not even another Marty because
no, not in. The sad part about it is that Buck Showalter, the one thing I will say for him, is one of the greatest builders you could have ever asked for to take over any team. All right. So the 509 career winning percentage doesn't surprise me as far as regular season because he more than once has done this where he's come into a fucking disaster and turned them into just about championship material. and then he would leave, and right away, all of his hard work would result in a title for that team.
Right.
He did this several times in his career.
Well,
First with the
he was
Yankees,
the first manager of the Diamondbacks, I think,
first,
wasn't he, in
right?
98?
First with the Yankees. I'll never forget how he fixed the Yankees because he really did. Him and Gene Michael did. With, I believe, assistance from George. Anybody who thinks George didn't have anything to do with that is just fucking clueless. But, Showalter with Michael did an unbelievable job restoring Yankee pride and quality. Then he went to Arizona, like you said, and he did it there. Then he went to, what did he go to, Texas?
Texas, the Orioles, the Mets.
Right, and then the Orioles, and then the Mets. He had a 100-win season with the Mets, didn't he? I mean,
3 years ago with the Mets.
He's an excellent manager, but at some point in that career, not to be sounding like my partner, at some point in that career, you got to do more than what you did in the postseason. I can't do it. The low winning percentage I get because he was always fixing someone else's problem and turning them into championship material, but he wasn't there for the championships. He doesn't get to take credit for that because then that's a diss on Joe Torre. No way. Joe Torre was the one and the right one, and there was plenty of things that changed after Showalter got here to ensure that we turned into what we turned into. Mariano became a closer during Joe's time. Derek wasn't even starting when Buck was there. Derek's first glimpse of Major League Baseball was the postseason when Buck did something great. He wanted to make sure that Jeter, I think Posada, a few of the kids who hadn't even played yet were on that squad so they could witness what it's like to play in postseason. Right. You know what I mean? So Buck did everything right with every team he ever went to, and he got great results. But you can't just win one postseason series in 22 years.
Yeah, that's not going to cut
it. With a 509 lifetime winning percentage. I can't do it. But if he goes into the building ward, but he's not a builder, technically, even though he was. So as a builder, he's Hall of Fame material. But end result as a manager, no, I can't do it. There's no championship.
If he had gotten one or two, maybe yes, then with a World Series or two.
If he had managed even one World Series championship to go with everything that he's done over all these years, I would say yes. And it's that final line for me that you at least get one title out of this from somewhere.
Yeah. I really like the guy, but I
love him.
With you. Yeah,
I love him. I would take him right now to replace Aaron Boone, but he never would return because Showalter's another guy who would probably argue with Cashman. You can't do this. Stop playing it this way. Stop it. Now Buck was always analytically smart, but Buck had a good gut. He had both, and there's not too many managers who have both.
Good baseball man, for sure.
He's a great baseball. I think he's a genius, honestly. I really do. I think he's great. I loved him as Yankees manager. I've always rooted for him. Even when he went to the Mets, I told Met fans, you just got someone who's going to fix you guys fast.
So Buck would be like the Seth Rollins of baseball, right? He'd be the architect.
I can't even say Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins has got so many championships.
That's true, yeah.
You know what I mean? Right now, he's feeling like Bobby Roode.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of rough.
So, to me, this one's a no-brainer. Joe Maddon, World Series, 2 pennants, 3 manager of the year, 532 regular season winning percentage, takes the Cubs to their first world championship, in 108 years?
Mm-hmm.
You got to get us on that, right?
Yeah, I think he's done it. The old man's done enough. He's definitely
got the Rays to their first World Series. They didn't win, but
right.
I mean, took a team that was an absolute joke.
That's a miracle. It really is.
When he left, I mean, they were routinely winning, like 93, 94. Now, nobody in the stadium.
Right.
But that's not his fault.
The fact that what's his lifetime winning percentage, did you say? 538?
532. But when he took over the Rays.
And when you realize, like you just were saying, when you realize that a lot of this was with Tampa Bay, and then the poor sad sack Cubs. Now this guy. This guy's. Can we get him? Is he? I want anybody but Aaron.
Honestly, I don't know. Now, do you think his style would translate in New York?
No, probably not. Probably not. But you know what though? Am I wrong? Why does he remind me of a Bob Lemon type of manager? Am I wrong to say that?
He's very I mean, demeanor-wise, very placid. He's not, he's
Right.
not fiery like Boone.
Right. Bob Lemon was just he had an aura, though. You understand what I'm getting at?
Right.
It's like Bob Lemon wasn't over the top, wasn't didn't wear everything on his sleeve, was very professional, very gentlemanlike and stuff like that. I don't think that that's what this team needs. So I guess if you're asking me would he fit with this particular situation in New York? No, probably not. Probably not. This team needs a foot up the ass, man.
Well,
I mean, it really does.
Maybe perfect segue. Next guy, Joe Girardi, World Series pennant, Manager of the Year, 545 regular season, 538 postseason, 14 seasons.
He's very close, but I'm going to say no. He would need another 5-year run with somebody, perhaps another championship to slam it home. But Joe Girardi is one of my favorite kind of managers. I love Joe Girardi for a bunch of different reasons. I didn't want to see him go when it happened. I didn't agree with it. I said to anybody who I was talking to at the time about the Yankees, I said they just brought in a yes man. Because Joe's mean to Gary. Do you realize what Joe Girardi got out of Gary Sanchez? One of the laziest, most one-dimensional ball players ever. Did you see what he was getting out of him?
He even got him to hit for average.
He got him to hit for power and average.
Right.
He got him to be a stud. And that's because he stood on his neck. Joe was a catcher. People forget, I love catchers who become managers because the catcher is the smartest guy on that field.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be. That's his job. He's supposed to understand every hitter that's coming to the plate, every pitch that's being thrown to him, how his pitcher feels that day, what to throw, when to throw it, where the guy should be in the outfield, where the guy should be in the infield. He sees it all because he's looking right at it like we look at the screen at home watching the game. So Joe's a catcher. Joe's a genius, How do you think Yogi Berra was able to go from the Yankees and then to the Mets and be able to do that sort of stuff as a manager? Because he's a catcher. What was Joe Torre at some points during his career, by the way?
Catcher. Mostly catcher.
Oh, there you go.
Well, at least in the beginning he was a catcher.
And a damn good one.
Right. Very good
damn good one. A catcher, that's why, another shame that Munson's life was cut short, because if you think Thurman Munson eventually wasn't going to be managing the New York Yankees, you are wrong, all right? Thurman Munson would have gone on to be a Yankee manager, and trust me, there would have been a championship somewhere in there, because Thurman Munson would have nothing less than that as far as effort, So there's all these other things, never mind the fact that he didn't get the chance to finish out his Hall of Fame career, because he would have. He eventually was Yankee management material. He was captain. He was a leader. And we both know how much George loved Thurman. So, yeah, Thurman would have been approached with that. Now, would have Thurman wanted to do it after baseball? That's a bit of a toss-up.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a toss-up. But if Munson got the itch, trust me, there's only one place he'd be going back to put a uniform on, and it would be to be managing the New York Yankees. Girardi's a great manager, but it's not. He's not there yet.
Let me give you you mentioned Gary Sanchez. 2016 he comes up, right?
Right.
53 games, 20 homers, 42 ribbies, 299. Great, right? Next year, full season. Well, only in 122 games, 33, 90, and 278. I mean, and
he got Gary Sanchez. He got Gary Sanchez to knock in 90 runs and hit almost 280.
Right.
But you're hard on him, Joe. You know that was going on. You know that, right? That was coming out in the press that Gary wasn't happy with all the pressure being put on him, that Joe's too rough. And I'm like, well, what is too rough? I don't understand what that even fucking means on a baseball team. What is too rough?
I've had, in the business world, I had a lot of bosses that were very tough and very demanding. But you know what? They got the best out of me. And isn't that what it's all about? Isn't that what a good manager is all about?
Yes.
Getting the most out of their employees?
Yes. It's one of the most hardcore things I've ever read. But in 94, not to switch the sport, but it's about the manager. It's about the coach. 94, Mike Keenan walks into the New York Rangers locker room and goes right up to Brian Leetch, first ballot Hall of Fame defenseman, probably the greatest pure Ranger in the history of the franchise going back to 1926. And he walks right up to Brian Leetch in front of everybody and goes, "Who the fuck do you think you are? You think you're fucking Chris Chelios? You're no fucking Chris Chelios." He started demeaning him right in front of everybody because he wanted more out of him. Messier saw this and realized that this is actually injuring Brian. Brian couldn't handle it. Messier actually had to intervene, pull Keenan into the office, tell him that there's certain guys you say that to and certain guys you don't, and Leetch is not one of them, blah, 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 blah. And then Messier goes out to talk to Leetch about it, and Leetch just gives him a cold stare and goes, "I'm fine." So guess what?
Wow.
It worked. It did work.
Yeah.
Because when Messier walked into the office to tell Keenan, "Hey, maybe you did that to the wrong guy," meanwhile, Leetch is sitting in his locker getting angry. At first it was hurt, and then he's like, "Wait a minute. I am just as good as Chris fucking Chelios. What the fuck?"
Yeah, and I'm gonna prove that asshole wrong. Like,
right. And you know who won the Conn Smythe Trophy the year that the Rangers won a Stanley Cup? Brian Leetch.
Yep.
So there it is.
Really good example.
Yeah.
So we agree. So maybe Joe will get picked up by somebody and he will have that run. I'd like to see that.
Where do you think he'll go? Because I'd love to see him come back.
Well, I'd like to see him come back here.
Yeah.
Give him another shot.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where he would go. I don't know where he would go. He's a special kind of manager, and they don't make those guys anymore. So,
all right. So now we have the not so recent past, which still fairly recent, but not within the last 5 years.
All right.
First guy, Mike Scioscia, World Series pennant, Manager of the Year, 536 regular season, 438 postseason, 19 seasons.
This is an eye test for me. Mike Scioscia is a great manager. Always has been. Wears his heart on his sleeve. He's a fucking feisty motherfucker. I can't stand him. That doesn't mean that I don't see what I see. I think Mike Scioscia is a tremendous manager. My God, I would kill to have him. I would love to have Mike Scioscia. By the way, Mike Scioscia is the kind of guy that would fix the Yankees. You ain't playing like this. What the hell is this shit? You know, and he would be telling Cashman, "No, don't go get me that first baseman from whatever. I want this kid Rice to keep going." You know, some managers just go more by their gut, and I feel that Scioscia's one of them. I've always felt whatever edge he can get, he'll try to get it. You know,
I'm looking him up. I'm trying to see how old he is. I don't think he's really that old, is he?
It doesn't strike me that way. I mean, I'm sure he's in his 60s. You know, I would think.
Mike Scioscia.
I would think he's in his 60s.
He's 66, but I mean, you know.
Right. That's good. You know, that's fine.
Right.
That's fine. You can get another great 5 years, 6 years out of him. Let him go. Go get him. You know, but again, our front office is bought and paid for. It's what Hal the Bean Counter wants. This is who he wants. He wants his bean counters. He's got Brian with his analytics, and this is the best possible team I could put on the field, so we'll be successful during the season. We'll make the postseason. It's not about championships to these guys. It's about just profit. And that's fine if it's about profit, but you got to win a title from time to time. You know? Vince McMahon did not roll out year after year after year bad WrestleManias. If he was on a slow streak, he changed shit up, and WrestleMania got hot, and we had a great WrestleMania. You know what I mean? You got to deliver sometimes in the biggest moment. You can't just, well, the program's good every week, and, you know, no. Where's the urgency?
I mean, you can only ride on your laurels for so long.
Right.
And then you got
outside of 2000, since the year 2000, there's been one title.
Right.
And then under the same GM.
Right.
How is this possible? You're going to tell me in 2010, like, let's just say George was somehow still alive for the last 14 years. Do you really think he's keeping Brian Cashman with one title in the last 24 seasons?
Would Cashman have made it to 2009?
Well, Cashman made it to 2009 with George's approval. I mean, George passed away in 2010.
Okay.
So I mean, he still had George's approval, but by 2015, I guarantee you, there would have been a different general manager if George was around. George would have given him the benefit of the doubt after that championship for possibly 2 more seasons. maybe 3 at the most, but then he would have made a change.
Yeah,
he would have. Even George in his mellow state later in life, he would have made a change. He would have, you know.
All right, Jimmy said. So if Buck was my favorite, one that I wanted to review with you, this one's my second favorite. Lou Piniella.
Yeah.
World Series, pennant, 3 managers of the year, 517 regular season, 23 seasons.
And what makes me more annoyed about it is the man is old, very old, and they shunned him again.
Right.
Lou Piniella is one of the greatest managers of our lifetime, one way or the other. The regular season stuff doesn't bother me because he's another guy who wasn't afraid to take a job with a franchise who sucked. And I mean, look what he did for the Mariners.
Well, when he took the Rays over, they really blew. I mean, big time.
Right. But I mean, he turned the Mariners into, really something.
Yeah. One with the Reds, turned the Mariners around. Did well with the Yankees.
But he did really well with the Yankees.
Solid. I mean,
by the way, the Reds don't win that World Series unless Lou Piniella is their manager. They should not have won that World Series. And they won kind of easily from what I remember.
Yeah.
And they should not have been able to win that World Series. Oakland was way better on paper. And La Russa was the manager. I mean, my God, they were so stacked. And somehow Pinella's team of misfits, with a hot Jose Rio and Rob Dibble. I mean, Paul O'Neill in right field, not even being Paul O'Neill that we know.
Right.
I mean, and he wins a world championship.
I forgot all about Jose Rio. That's a blast from the past.
Yeah. I mean, Lou Piniella fucking turned chicken shit into chicken soup that year.
All day long.
He's absolutely a Hall of Famer. Yeah. It's a shame on them for making him wait.
And he's let's see, he was the Rookie of the Year in 69 with the Royals. So he's got to be like close to 80, I would say, at this point.
I think he is 80.
Yeah.
And
when he came up, he actually had a cup of coffee with the Orioles, I think in 64. So yeah, he's not a young guy. He might be 80.
Right. No, he is. He's up there.
Yeah.
He was excellent.
Let the damn guy enjoy his induction while he's alive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously it could be a popularity thing because we know Lou didn't kiss anybody's ass, so it could be that. I don't like him; he's mean. What a joke, Lou was a hell of a ball player too. Let's not get that lost.
Very underrated ball player.
Excellent average hitter.
Yes. Yep.
Excellent.
Davey Johnson, World Series pennant, 2 managers of the year, 562 regular season, 490 postseason, 17 seasons.
I'm going to let you go first.
You know what? I'm on the fence with this. I really am because I think he could have got more out of the Mets, than that one World Series.
Right.
I think he underachieved. I'm going to say no.
Yeah. Yeah. Very impressive regular season winning percentage. I got to go with no.
Yeah.
That's rough. That's a rough one, but he definitely should have squeezed another
very
one
close. Out. The Hall of very close.
Yeah, I agree with you though. If 88 was the year that the Mets should have done it again.
Right.
They should have done it. Ironically, Socha killed them, didn't he? Wasn't it Socha that broke their back?
Yes.
As a player.
I mean, I really think they had the makings of a halfway decent mini dynasty.
Yeah.
And if he had won 2 or 3 in 5 years, absolutely 100%.
Right. Yep. No, right. You know what? It's going to sound strange. He's no Buck Showalter.
No.
You know what I mean?
Buck is probably the greatest manager never to win a series.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, Buck's deal, but
yep,
that's his fate.
All right, some of these, Cito Gaston, 2 World Series, 2 pennants, 516 regular, 529 postseason, 12 seasons.
No,
got the 2 series with the Jays.
I know. Those teams were very loaded, though. Cito did a great job with them. Don't get me wrong, but he doesn't strike me as a Hall of Famer. He doesn't. I think of Hall of Fame managers. I think of guys like Jim Leland. You know what I mean? He doesn't.
Well, And you know, to me, the big appeal is when you can take like Showalter, or
Right.
there's going to be another guy that we're going to talk about very soon,
Right.
where you're taking multiple teams and turning them around, like Piniella.
Right. Cito Gaston was given a lot of great things through the front office for those couple of years. Let's not forget that the moves that the front office made were really, really, really wise moves. Kind of like what I was screaming about earlier, knowing when to get a guy either at the top of their game or knowing that they're still super clutch means everything. So you realize that during those 2 years, they added David Cohn, Jack Morris, Dave Winfield, who came in and knocked in 106 runs with 30-plus home runs and got the game-winning double to clinch the World Series, erasing the Mr. May tag for one of those 2 championships. Cito was given a lot to work with, So it's not like, Buck. Buck always built up the teams and then kaboom. Look at what followed after Buck left. You're talking about bringing in Roger Clemens. You're talking about over in Arizona, bringing in Schilling and Johnson. These are things that you better win. You better win if you're bringing in guys like that. And they won. So, I mean, as good as I thought Cito Gaston was, I think he was a really good manager. But I can't say to myself that's a Hall of Fame manager.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Blue Jays haven't retired his number by now, I would think that they should. My God, he's the best manager in their history. But
I would say if he had moved on to another team maybe and did something with them, I'd have a lot more consideration for him.
Right. Yeah, he's not a Hall of Famer to me.
All right. Next, Ned Yost. World Series, 2 pennants. This is what killed me on 473 regular season winning percentage.
No, not at all.
You can't win 47% of your games in 16 years. That means you had a lot of shitty seasons.
Right. No, he's just not a Hall of Famer. That's just cut and dry to me. It's not a whole, and he's boring too, Ned Yost.
Yeah.
I'm like ready to take a nap when you say Ned Yost.
It's like, I vaguely remember that guy. I had to look at his stats and like, yeah, I kind of remember Ned Yost.
Yeah, like I remember Jerry Narron.
Right.
Jesus God. Ah.
Next guy, kind of puzzler a little bit. Charlie Manuel, World Series, 2 pennants, 548 regular season, 569 postseason, 12 seasons. A little bit short.
Yeah. Pretty good though.
Yeah.
Pretty good though.
Let me just take a quick look at him. Was he only the Phillies?
And how many lifetime wins did he have? I know he's got a nice winning percentage, but how many lifetime wins did he accumulate?
Charlie Manuel. Let's see.
He was pretty good, what I remember.
He won exactly. Let's see. 1,000 wins, 826 losses.
1,000 right on the
head. Yep.
Interesting. I'm still going to say no. It's not enough. Like if you had told me he had like 1,500 career wins and stuff like that, but I don't think he did. I don't think he did it long enough.
No, he did. Yeah, and he got in the game very late. He managed 3 seasons with the Indians from 2000 to 2002, and then a couple of years off. By the time he left the Phillies, he was 69.
Right.
Had those 2 very good years. 08 when they won the series, and
they were great
09 when they won the pennant.
Yeah, when Jimmy Rollins' mouth was running wild and he was backing it up. Yep.
Right.
I remember that.
All right.
Yep. So close but no cigar. Nice little 12-year run though. Not
cigar. Bad. All right.
Not bad.
Well, now we're going old school. All right.
All right.
Billy Martin. World Series, 2 pennants, 553 regular season, 441 postseason, 16 seasons, took 4 separate teams to the playoffs.
Total amount of wins in his career.
Billy Martin, let's see.
Because this is where I need to know this number for sure, but I'm pretty sure I know the number. But what's his amount of wins for his career?
Billy.
Good regular season winning percentage.
Billy Martin.
Bet she's got over 1,500.
Billy's got actually 1,253.
Oh, I'm off.
Yeah, the problem is a lot of these seasons were partial seasons.
Yeah, I know.
Firing
George was always firing him. That's true.
But I mean, he goes to the Twins in '69, wins 97 games.
Right.
Then he 1 year off, goes to the Tigers, wins 91.
Right.
Goes to the Rangers.
With shit, by the way. These teams you're mentioning were shit. Keep going.
Yeah, the Rangers in the mid-'70s were not very good.
They were terrible.
Yeah.
And what did he do? What did he do there?
He won. He was 84 and 76, and then 44 and 51, and I guess they canned him.
Right.
Then,
right.
Well, he managed the Yankees the same season, so maybe.
Right. Well, he won 84 games with a team that shouldn't have even probably won 54 games. I could tell you that.
Right.
I remember that.
And then the A's. I mean, A's built them up.
Yep, he was excellent, and every time he came back to the Yankees, he was good. They were good. Look, the Yankees
83 wins 91 with the Yankees. 85 wins 91.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We can't have it both ways. The bottom line with Showalter is that he fixed wherever he went, but he could never get anything done in the postseason. Well, that's not the case with Billy Martin. Billy Martin could get it done in the postseason with the 2 pennants in the championship. And if George hadn't been constantly firing him, God only knows what would have happened during the 80s. Look, the Yankees won the most games during the 80s, during the regular season. They were the winningest team during the 80s in the regular season. You think that if he would stop fucking firing Billy, he was doing it over and over again, and it was just ridiculous. It's like, dude, just let the guy manage. You don't know what the fuck he is by now? Billy always got turned a $5 bill into a $50 or a $10 into a $100 bill. If you want a guy who's going to go by his gut and actually knows how to play this fucking game, it was Billy Martin. All right? This is the sign of a great manager. Okay? In 1977, and I know I've told you this off air, so forgive me for repeating myself, but to the audience at home, it's very important. 1977, we had a guy, Don Gullett. We had picked him up from the Big Red Machine. It was a good signing at the time. It appeared to be a good move. He goes 14-4. The playoffs come, blows out his shoulder. It's fucking hurt. Billy Martin goes to the bullpen and brings in the 4th inning. I mean, it was early in the game. Brings in the Cy Young Award-winning closer when the closer role was still being defined by people like Rollie Fingers and then, of course, Goose Gossage. Brings in Sparky Lyle. Sparky Lyle proceeds to pitch the rest of the game. His closer. Because Billy needed that game. We can't afford, fuck your analytics. You see where I'm going with this, how we do things today? Fuck your analytics. If we lose this game, there is no fucking tomorrow. Don't tell me we're going to come back from 2 down or whatever the hell. I am not surrendering this game. So Sparky goes out there and finishes it up, and we win the game, and we go on to win the pennant. We go on to win the World Series. He benches Reggie in Game 5 because, look, at the end of the day, there was a huge philosophical catechism between Reggie Jackson and Billy Martin, and Billy felt that Reggie didn't care enough or play hard enough. Whether Billy was right or wrong about that is not the point. The point is that he benched Reggie for the deciding game and then brought him in the 8th inning, I think, to pinch hit, and Reggie, of course, delivered. Right. Because his shit was on his toes. He was on his toes. He's like, fuck, I cannot. There ain't no way in hell I'm going to make it out here because Billy, I got to show Billy. It was as much I got to show Billy as it was I got to show myself. Billy Martin was a take-no-prisoners kind of manager. I loved him. I thought he was everything that was right about baseball. He bled Yankee pinstripes, all right? He was one of the greatest managers of his generation. He is a Hall of Fame quality manager. Is.
He did what he needed to do at that moment because he had enough confidence in his managerial abilities that when the next situation came along, he'd have a solution.
Right. He always did. He was always
he always did. He always did.
When you see Billy walk out to the plate after George Brett hits that infamous home run off Goose Gossage into the upper deck or wherever the fuck it went. I mean,
I don't think it ever landed.
You know, it's funny too because Frank Messer was saying, this matchup is, not. He wasn't feeling it, and then you hear Messer go, as the ball's going out, and meanwhile, sitting on the bench, staring at the bat, is Billy. Billy's like, there's a lot of pine tar on that bat. There might be too much pine tar on that bat. I think I'm going to go over there and ask the umpire to measure that pine tar. Are you kidding me? Talk about never giving up.
Well, let me ask you a question. Would any manager in the game of baseball have had the foresight to do that besides Billy?
No, I don't think so. And it's funny how Martin and Jackson seem to be such polar opposites when they really were very similar in their competitive nature, believe it or not.
They wanted to win.
Because in the World Series, I think it's the next year in '78, Reggie's caught in a rundown between first and second, or he's just in the middle of something there. And the ball, he stayed in the baseline. He was within the rights to stay in the baseline, and the ball comes, that was really on the guy making the throw. But he basically threw it right in the line of Reggie, so all Reggie had to do was stick his hip out. He didn't even have to lift his feet. He was looking for an edge. Whatever edge he could get. And it's funny, too, if you see it in slow motion, the ball being thrown is coming at Reggie. There's a smile on Reggie's face because he's already processed what he's going to do.
Right.
That's very Billy-like. That's very, I'll take whatever edge I can get. You know what I mean? So it may have seemed to be a match made in hell, but it turned out to be a championship match made in heaven. I'll tell you that.
I think if somebody handed Billy a computer printout, remember the movie Major League when Roger Dorn didn't want to, I guess take infield practice.
Is this when the manager takes a piss on his contract?
Here's my contract, and he just put it on the ground. That's what Billy would have done with that.
That's printout. What I think of your fucking contract.
Right, exactly. That's what Billy would have done to the printout that this is how you pitch this guy.
Yeah. Well, look, if you're going to tell me Earl Weaver is in the hall and you're going to tell me Lasorda's in the hall, Tommy, you're not going to tell me Billy Martin wasn't right there with those
Billy
guys.
Martin can hang with any of those guys. Come on.
Yeah, he did, and he defeated them too.
Right.
Plenty of times. All
right, we're going to talk about another, quasi-Yankee, semi-Yankee, Ralph Houck.
Right.
Two World Series, 3 pennants, 514 regular season, 500 postseason, 20 seasons. Those 3 pennants, 2 World Series, were from 61 to 63 with the Yankees. Nothing in the next 17.
Right. He was the right man at the right time, but I can't give it to him. I can't. I thought he was a good manager. I thought he was the right manager at the right time. I will say that I think that there must have been bad feelings over the years between Houck and the Yankees because Ralph Houck did enough as a Yankee manager to deserve a plaque of some kind mentioning him or a number of retirements.
11 seasons with the Yankees.
He did enough. He did more than enough. He should have at least been honored at Yankee Stadium, whether they chose to retire his number or at least give him a plaque, give him something. He is an all-time great Yankee manager. But again, look what he inherited. I mean, he was walking into Mantle and Maris and all those, and Berra and Howard and all these guys had championships. See,
again, Jimmy, if you're the manager of the 61 Yankees, you're still going all the way, right?
Yeah, I'm going. Of course I am. Of course I am. If anything, I probably
let me see. I got Bobby Richardson leading off. Then I got Q back.
Yeah,
I think I can fill out that lineup card.
Yeah, but on top of it, I think I probably could have helped Roger with all that stress. You know what I mean? The way I smoke cigarettes, and I know Roger was a heavy cigarette smoker.
Right.
I could see myself talking to Roger constantly about, hey man, you got this. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? You just keep doing what you're doing because you're fucking
playing. the asterisk.
Yeah, you're doing great. Just keep doing it. But how great Yankee manager. He deserves some flowers for that. But I can't say he's a Hall of Famer. I can't.
Yeah, I can't argue with you.
He's not Billy Martin. I mean, my God, at all.
No. I guess when you said that Billy is the measuring stick, no, he definitely falls short.
Right.
Last guy we got here is Danny Murtaugh. 2 World Series, 2 pennants. The long-time Pirate manager. 540 regular season. Let's see. only 429 postseason, 15 seasons.
How many wins did he get? Do you mind?
Let's see. Murtaugh's got, I think he's got about the same as Billy, maybe like 1,300. Let's see.
Interesting.
I think he might have more because he doesn't have half seasons.
Right. Right. He didn't have an owner firing him every other day. Billy?
Whoa. Take it back. 11-15.
Yeah, no, he ain't going anywhere. No.
Let me see if I can find it. All time.
Although winning with Pittsburgh is it's a miracle unto itself in baseball.
Managers. You got that. He was the manager for the 60 World Series, right? I think he was. And then what, 70 or 71?
71. Who was that? Chuck Tanner? Was that Chuck Tanner that managed 79? We Are Family?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I had a list of managers, wins by managers, and I think anybody that had like over 1,500.
Right.
We chatted about tonight.
Right.
And I mean, let me take a quick look in the chat room, see if anybody threw any names out that. Lou Brown
out there in the chat room.
Lou Brown, definitely, he deserves to be in for sure. We just talked about him. Let's see, Girardi, B+. Yeah, for Jim Fregosi. No.
Nah.
No, I don't think so. Well, Bobby Cox, but Bobby Cox is in, right?
Bobby Cox is in. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Bobby Cox.
Hey, where's Don Zimmer on this list?
You know what? Give me a second here. Let's look him up.
Where's Don Zimmer? He had some success, didn't he?
Don Zimmer had some. I don't think
he gets in or anything. I was just curious.
No, let's see. Here we go. I found that list. So, yeah. So, of the guys who have, this is the all-time list. Dusty Baker is 7th with 2,183 wins, but he gets in.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Sure.
Bochy's got 2,139. He gets in.
He's in. Of course he's in.
Francona, 1950. He gets in.
Of course.
Here's a name that is I don't think he'll ever get in. He's got 1,902 wins, but he's got 2,037 losses. Gene Mauch. We ain't ever seen him. Nah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I don't think of him as a Hall of Famer.
Might be he's going to be the all-time winningest manager who will never be in the Hall of Fame. And then you got Lou,
right,
at 1,835 wins. But we said he should be in.
Yep.
Buck's got 1,727.
My God, it's a lot of wins.
A lot of wins. He's only let's see, 52 games, 62 games over 500.
Right. Well, again, he inherited a lot of garbage.
Yeah, he did.
Each time he went from place to place,
Scioscia, let's see, 1,650. We said he should be in. Hack, we said no. Yeah, and then now Bob. How about Bob Melvin? We didn't talk about him. Let me. I think he's a no. He's got a lot of wins, though. Let's see. You still there, Jimmy? Did we lose Jimmy? Wow.
Really?
There he is. He was there for a second. Earth to Jimmy. And there he is.
I don't know what happened, bro.
Yeah. How about Bob
weird.
Melvin?
All right. What do you got?
Bob Melvin, let's see. Current manager of the Giants, 21 seasons. He's got 1,564 wins. He's got 3 manager of the years, but he is 410 in the postseason.
Nah.
No pennants, no World Series.
Nope. Not doing it.
Yeah.
Nope.
I mean, one of those guys is good enough to keep a job.
Right.
You remain gainfully employed, but that should not be a criteria for the Hall of Fame.
No. No Harold Baines managers, please. Oh.
No, and he's another one. He's been around. Seattle, Arizona, Oakland, San Diego, and now the Giants.
Yeah, and none of them have been very, very good, right? I mean, he's done okay, but
never won 100. Never won 100 games.
No.
Nah, he doesn't do it for me.
Nope, not in.
Yeah. So, Jimmy, the hour's up. What do you think? We do another show on the stragglers?
Yeah, we might have to. We have to come up with some names and see what we got. You know, I'm sure it could at least be a segment on the next show. That's for sure.
Well, who do we throw out? We throw out Rusty Staub. You had another couple of really good names.
I was thinking about Vada Pinson. I mean, there's other guys. There might be some other pitchers and catchers and stuff like that.
Right.
But we'll see if there's a list sizable enough. If there isn't, we'll just make it a segment on the show. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, Staub. You got Vada Pinson. There's a couple, like a Rocky Colavito, maybe. Well, he's kind of, he's worth mentioning anyway.
What about Kluzinski?
Big Clue, yeah. Big Clue is a great power hitter.
Yep. There's some names.
No, I really think. There's a lot of good ball players that are not in.
Yep.
A lot of
we're looking for the ones who deserve to be called great, though. That's the whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
So. Yeah. I think Billy Martin was great. I'm very comfortable with saying he should be in the Hall of Fame. So.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, again, poor guy couldn't live for it, but.
Yeah. Well, Billy was his own worst enemy, but if Billy had lived any other way, Billy wouldn't have been the person he was or the manager he was. Everything was Billy was a little bit like an Axl Rose in a way. You know what I mean?
What would be like if you could describe Billy Martin in one word? I would use the word combative. What would you use?
Crazy. I thought Billy Martin was crazy, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're not a crazy genius. So I guess I would need another word. I would need 2 words. Crazy genius.
Yeah.
Because he was.
Didn't you love watching the Yankees when Billy was the manager?
Of course I did. I loved Billy Martin. Even the way he walked out to the mound. Everything about Billy Martin. And you knew he was a great Yankee. He never wanted to be traded from the Yankees. He loved the Yankees. He didn't feel right in any other uniform. But to his credit, anytime he did put on another uniform, he gave it 1,000%. And he expected that of every guy around him, and he got it out of them. I mean, wasn't he the one that stood up and helped Ron LaFleur when Ron LaFleur was like straight out of prison and stuff? Like, he turned Ron LaFleur into an all-star. I mean, he got him to, and there's that, I'm sure Billy had his racist views just like a lot of guys did back in the day.
Well,
but
of course, yeah.
But if he's such a racist, then why would he help Ron LaFleur? I mean, he totally went out of his way to make Ron LaFleur feel like a member of society and then a member of the baseball team and make him feel good and make him feel confident and totally built him up. I mean, I would like to think that if Billy had lived all these years later, him and Reggie probably would have grown close,
I'm sure. Yeah, in their older years. There was I don't know if you ever heard of this book, Jimmy. It was written by, I don't know if it was really written by Mantle. At least it was ghostwritten by Mantle. It was called The Quality of Courage.
No.
Very, very good book. And he talks about a number of guys. One guy he talked about was Don Zimmer. We talked about Zimmer earlier. How Zimmer got nailed in that skull with a pitch back in the day when a helmet was optional.
Right.
And the guy literally had to lay on his back for like 6 months while they had to drill a hole in his skull
Right.
And he went back, dug right back in like nothing ever happened. Just
right.
Like gutsy guys. But he mentioned Billy Martin. I guess there was I don't know what World Series it was, but
the catch,
the one with Jackie Robinson, the infield fly,
that was insane.
Right.
That's an insane play. That was all effort. That was, I'm going to get this ball. God damn it, if it kills me. And that's how
Billy didn't
Martin
catch that. It would not have been good, right?
It would have been catastrophic. What Billy did in that. I think that complete game is available. I think that I've watched that complete game. There's a couple of archives that have complete games between the Yankees and Dodgers from back in those days, and in the World Series. And Billy, that's how Billy lived his life. Everything with Billy was go 1,000%. Billy was not gifted physically. Billy wasn't the biggest, strongest guy in the room.
Billy was a guy from the streets.
Right. He was just a little scrapper,
right.
And he lived life that way. I mean, when he felt that things weren't going their way early in the 70s, look, they had been through the 76 World Series, and seeing Martin just going out there screaming at the umpire early on in the series, don't you be intimidating me. Don't you? He's like, Billy, I'm not intimidating. Don't you be intimidating me. He's just right in his face. Billy was so upset with the sweep. I'm sure you know about this play. I think it's the ninth inning, for God's sakes. The World Series is over. The Reds have killed us. We're going to get swept. And it's the weirdest thing. You see a baseball come rolling by behind home plate. Like someone threw it. That was Billy. Billy was still arguing right to the end. He was arguing right to the end, and they threw him out of the game. I think he didn't even see the final out. I think he got thrown out of the game. He was sitting in his office basically in tears because the Yankees had lost the World Series. He was ruined by it. He was so upset, And I don't know how accurate it is, but they made a movie called The Bronx is Burning that ESPN did years back.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Great movie.
The 77 season. And I don't know how accurate it is, but Billy's sitting at the desk after the sweep, and he's in tears. You could see that he's just eating them alive, that they weren't able to get the championship. And George comes in and leans over that desk and starts, we were swept. Swept, Billy. He's like, never again. I mean, he was so angry. And you can see he's blaming Billy. And it's really not Billy's fault. They ran into the Big Red Machine. They didn't have enough hitting. They didn't have enough pitching. They wound up making the adjustments in the offseason. They brought in Reggie. They did several other things, to shore up the force of the team. But, you can see how much it mattered to Billy. Billy just bled Yankees pinstripes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really moved by it.
Yes, sir. All right, Jimmy, that about wraps this one up. I really have to give us a Barry Horowitz.
A Barry Horowitz?
Pat on the back.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Because I think we did a really thorough job covering, it's a topic that's been debated for years and years, and it's going to be debated till the end of baseball time. So I really hope, and it's not over yet. We probably will do another episode, but I really hope our listeners enjoyed this, and I really hope you did as well.
Absolutely, dude. I love talking baseball with you. I love the content. I think it's great.
This is the Hot Stove League 2024, and I'd really like to thank all of our listeners for their weekly support. And if you like the show, please share it with your friends. Maybe even Mo at the water cooler at work.
Mo,
or maybe even Shlomo. Wasn't there a tennis player named Shlomo?
What's that?
Shlomo Glickstein. Wasn't it Shlomo Glickstein? Right?
Shlomo?
I know this. I know there's Jay.